Hello again, everyone. This is Bionic Slime, your online voice for reviews of your choice. Welcome to BS Reviews. We now get on to my final requested review from YouTube user ElfinLead619, who has requested the anime series Scrapped Princess. Scrapped Princess is brought to you by Bandai Entertainment and was directed by Soichi Masui, who's worked on such anime as Razafon and Miami Guns, with artwork done by Yoshinori Hisha-Inuma, who's done art for such anime as Hellgirl and Mahoromatic Something More Beautiful. Stars the vocal talent of Kari Walgren as Pacifica Kasul, Crispin Freeman as Shannon Kasul, Brigitte Hoffman as Raquel Kasul, Steve Staley as Christopher, and Kate Higgins as Zephyrus. The plot of Scrapped Princess. Pacifica is not your ordinary 15-year-old girl. She has been prophesied by the Church of Mauser. She will be the bringer of the apocalypse, and she will destroy the planet when she becomes 16 on her next birthday. She's also known as the poison to the earth. So the Church of Mauser has called forth all soldiers, assassins, hitmen, and anyone else who would be willing to sacrifice Pacifica's life in order to preserve the population of the planet. Fortunately, Pacifica is not alone. She is protected by her adopted brother and sister, Shannon and Raquel Kasul. Shannon is a very experienced swordsman. Raquel is a semi-experienced sorceress. Now, the adopted siblings must go on a quest in order to evade capture and or assassination from everyone out after Pacifica's head in order to keep her alive past her age of 16, for when she will hopefully not bring about the apocalypse. View of the plot. Story to this anime is one of the things that got me noticing it from the very beginning. I mean, I've never really heard of an anime having a plot quite like this. It's extremely unique and original, and when you see it, it's even more creative and imaginative than you could have ever thought. I had no idea this anime was so complex and so interesting in where the story goes, the twists and turns it takes. I mean, right from the very beginning, you have conflict. This sweet, innocent young girl is said to be the bringer of all destruction, and she doesn't know why or how she is going to do this, and she doesn't want to. She even constantly doubts throughout the show, should I even live knowing that I could kill everyone when I turn 16? And then you have the other half of the argument where the whole world says she is, and they're certain she is, to the point where they would send the church and everyone and their mother just to kill her, just to be safe. I mean, you got lots of interesting conflicts from both sides of the argument that automatically give you an interesting premise that you can get attached to and just enjoy seeing where it goes. There's a point in the story where it reaches this revolutionary, mind-blowing story development, this huge twist that I never thought could see coming, and you're either going to absolutely love it or absolutely hate it. I loved it, and I'm just like, wow, that was incredible. It was well thought, well crafted, and just an extremely fascinating twist. The best way I could explain it is think of the Matrix. Think of that, and that's the best way I could explain it. You had to see it for yourself, and I don't really want to give it away. View of the characters. As I said, Pacifica is a very sweet and charming young character, and I love the fact that at such a young age, the character still remains very sweet, but at the same time still remains very serious. The show is much more lighthearted, but it always keeps that element of seriousness around. Kari Walgren does a very good job of bringing this balance of seriousness and silliness to the character of Pacifica. She makes it very obvious that this character is not unaware of her doomed destiny, but at the same time she still tries to be her sweet self. And not only makes the character appear more sympathetic, but also more charming and that much more interesting for us to follow. I loved Crispin Freeman as Shannon Kasul. The character at first doesn't appear that there is that much to him, but when you finally see how deeper the story goes with him, you see some amazing character developments that really flesh this guy out even more deeply than I thought possible. Crispin Freeman really gives this guy some deep, raw emotions, and I was very impressed at how excellent his performance was in this show. Raquel Kasul I was a little disappointed with. Not with Brigitte Hoffman's performance, I always think she has a great, sweet voice, but with the character itself. She plays too much like the Mahoro character that Brigitte Hoffman plays in Mahoromatic. And the character doesn't really change until even much later, than Shannon Casul's character. And it's kind of disappointed because she's with you the whole way and the character doesn't really grow. There's a couple moments where you see a different side of her that would have been interested had they expanded it on, but she really remains kind of consistent. In a way it's good, in a way it's bad. I just would have liked to see her flesh out and do something different, both in terms of the character and the voice actress. Kate Higgins as Zephyrus was a very unique, interesting character. She plays it very bland, very obvious, but when you see the character of Zephyrus, you can see why. Zephyrus is a very unusual character, both in terms of appearance and her involvement in the storyline. There's a lot of mystery surrounding her, and I enjoyed her involvement in the show because it kept you guessing on who she really was or what she was really capable of, and it made the character seem more interesting. Same with Christopher, played by Steve Staley. He was simple at first, but evolved into something a little bit more complicated than we thought at first glance. There are a couple times where he, among other characters, side and main, give underwhelming performances. They're not terrible, but they're not really that great either. It was just kind of unimpressive. So I was a little disappointed there, but he does grow as a character, and I like his voice. It's a very deep, dark edge that fits the unique personality of Christopher, so I give him credit for that. I also like the villains in this show, which were very unique concepts, and I really can't say too much about them without giving too much of the storyline. Reviewed the music and the animation. Music was very good, actually. I was surprised to know that Hikaru Nanase was the one who did the music, who also did the music for Chrono Crusade. I actually recognized the score that in the show that sounded almost identical to Chrono Crusade, so I'm like, that's really freaking cool. The opening theme song and the ending theme songs are okay. They try too much to be kind of popish, and it was unfortunate because they could have gone another direction that I think would have worked much better, but they're not bad. The animation, kind of half and half. On the one hand, it's very brightly colored and gives a lot of smooth, rounded character edges. It wasn't as detailed as I would hoped it would be. It's rich in color, rich in design, but not as explicitly detailed. Again, a lot of smooth, brightly colored, evenly shapes. And I think that lack of descriptive detail is what makes them appear more cartoony and less realistic. Even though it's an anime, the animation was very nice to look at, but I thought it could have been a little more deeper in the development of the detail. Flaws about the show. As I said, some of the characters give kind of underwhelming performances. The characters are not bland by any stature. It's just that the characters didn't give them enough oomph, I guess you could say, in their voice. They didn't give them enough spark to really make them generate that much interest. I will also say that the mind-blowing revolutionary storyline that I mentioned will probably turn some people off. It's a really hard thing to judge because it's such a unique plot line, so I really can't say it's a flaw, but I can definitely say it will not be for everyone. And I really did like it, but again, it's not going to be for everyone. And I do wish that a little bit more was elaborated on certain characters' relationships, but it wasn't bad enough that I would really call it flaw. So, final wrap up, Scrap Princess lacks the polish to be a truly spectacular anime. It has lack of detailed and descriptions in its animation style. Not everyone is going to like the storyline, revolutionary, mind-blowing thing. It'll either turn them off or piss them off, even though I liked it. And a lot of the characters, I admit, underperformed their performance. However, in contrast, there are a lot of great characters with great performances. I love Crispin Freeman as Shannon Casul. You got another great performance from Pacifica's Kari Walgren. The storyline is excellent and so fantastically creative and original, you will never see this stuff coming. The animation was very bright and vibrant, and I enjoyed that. I love the music. I mean, anything from Chrono Crusade guys is great, and I just really give this anime props for starting out as something seemingly simple and ballooning into something so much better than I ever could have thought. This anime does not get noticed enough, and it's a true crime. And even though it does have its flaws, I gotta say, I was more pleased and disappointed with this anime. So I implore you to check it out, whether you agree or disagree with my review or not. Bottom line, I give Scrap Princess 3 stars and a half out of 5. Well, that's all for now. This has been Bionic Slime for BS Reviews. Thank you all for listening, and goodbye for now.